Welcome to Chat with Nat, Conversations That Count, the podcast where real conversations meet real life. I'm your host, Natalie McPhie Kim, an entrepreneur, financial professional, caregiver, and advocate for living fully. This show dives into the stories and strategies that shape who we are and how we thrive. Gratitude changes everything. When life feels heavy, uncertain, or overwhelming, one simple shift can bring you back to center, focusing on what you're thankful for. But gratitude isn't just a feeling. It's a practice that can transform every part of your life. So today, we're talking about being thankful through the 5 F's that guide my life: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Let's dig in to how gratitude unlocks peace, prosperity, and purpose in every single one of them. First, of course, we're going to start with our money tip of the week, the gratitude audit. Before you chase the next financial goal, take inventory of what your money already allows you to experience. I want you to write down 3 things that your income has made possible this month. Maybe stability, generosity, or freedom. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, helping you spend intentionally and attract more of what aligns with your values. Money grows best where gratitude flows. As we jump into this episode, of course, we're going to start with the first of the 5 F's, faith, focusing on thankfulness as an anchor. There is no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still. That's a quote by Corrie ten Boom. And I'm sharing Corrie's story today as I'm going to share different stories throughout history, people you may have heard of, maybe not, in each of these 5 sections. But Corrie ten Boom was a Dutch Christian woman who, along with her family, helped hundreds of Jews escape the Nazis during World War II. Eventually, she and her sister Betsy were arrested, and they were sent to Ravensbrück concentration camp, one of the most brutal places imaginable. When they arrived, their barracks were overcrowded and infested with fleas. Carrie was furious and struggled to see how God could possibly allow something so awful. But Betsy insisted that they followed what they had always believed, and that was to give thanks in all circumstances. That's a scripture from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18. So despite the filth, the hunger, the pain, Betsy began thanking God for everything, including the fleas. Carrie thought that she was crazy until later when they discovered the guards refused to enter their barracks because of the fleas. That curse had become a blessing, allowing these women to pray, read the Bible, and share their faith freely with others in the camp. The fleas had given them spiritual freedom in a place of physical imprisonment. After the war, Corrie shared her story with the world, teaching that gratitude, even for what seems unbearable, is not denial. It's trusting that God's plan is greater than our pain. Gratitude within faith reminds us, y'all, that we're not in control. And sometimes that can be liberating. You know, thankfulness isn't just for when things are going well. It's especially potent when they're not. I think that, gosh, as humans, it's super easy to lean into our faith when we're struggling. It's harder to lean into that. I shouldn't say it's harder to lean into it. We easily get relaxed about our faith when things are going really well. I want to challenge you guys to focus on your faith all the time, in the good, in the hard, even in the bad. Leaning on that can help us to enjoy the happiness of life, the good things happening even more so. And it can carry us through those difficult times as well. I know for me, it definitely has throughout my life, and it shaped who I am today. I did not always deal well in difficult times, and I certainly did not lean on my faith all of the time. But as I've gotten older, maybe a little wiser, at least wise enough to lean on that faith when I'm struggling, it's helped see me through really difficult times. And it's helped me focus on making sure I'm leaning on that faith, even in the good times. So I want to encourage you guys, Begin each day with a moment of thank you for breath, for access to hope, and for divine presence. One of the things I do every single morning is I write 5 simple, small things that I'm grateful for. So I'm starting my day focusing on gratitude, and it helps me to stay rooted in that throughout the day, regardless of what might happen. Tie back to what's important to you. Connect your faith to that. What if something were to happen? Lean into that faith. It can help overcome the fear of those what ifs. And you can shift those what if something happens to something like, thank you for the capacity, the guidance, and the resilience. Gratitude for our faith, for the small things, can keep us rooted right where we want to be. So how do we show gratitude when it comes to our family? How do we show that we're thankful for the people, not the perfection? It's not about loving people when they're exactly what you want them to be, or they're doing things all the time the way that you should. Let me try that again. It's being grateful for the people even when they're getting it wrong, not just when they're getting it right. Because their definition of those things might be different than yours. There's more than one right way to do things. Be grateful just that you have your family, that you have your friends, because I include most of my friends, all of my friends really are my chosen family. So be grateful for the best parts of them, but even be grateful for them when they might be struggling, because your gratitude might lead them in a better direction. John Wooden has a quote that says, "Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out." And I want to share his story. John Wooden was a legendary UCLA basketball coach, often called the greatest coach of all time. He was known not just for his record 10 national championships, but for his unwavering gratitude, humility, and devotion to his faith and his family. After his beloved wife Nell passed away in 1985, Wooden continued to live simply in the same modest home that they had shared for decades. Every month until his own death for nearly 25 years, he wrote her a love letter and placed it on her pillow, tied neatly with a ribbon. He never remarried, and he would sit by her side of the bed and pray and thank God for the years that they had had together. When asked how he could keep such a grateful heart after such an incredible loss, he replied, "I'm not sad that she's gone. I'm grateful I had her at all. I thank God every day for the time that we were given." Wooden's gratitude wasn't based on what he had, but on who he loved and who loved him. He often said that his greatest success wasn't the basketball trophies, but the home and the marriage that they built together based on faith, respect, and grace. Y'all, what a beautiful story. Gratitude for family isn't about everything going right, having the perfect scenario all the time. It's about acknowledging the gift of people who walk through life with us, even through the pain, even through the hard. I want to encourage you guys today to pick one family member and right now send them a short "I'm grateful for you because" message. Take the time to just spotlight something about them that makes them so special and that makes you love them, and show them that gratitude. I want you guys to think about the fact that when it comes to building a legacy, there's so many ways you can do that. You can build a financial legacy, but the legacy of the memories, the family, the love, and the gratitude that you shared for the people who are important in your life all comes from being thankful for where you are right now, for who you have in your life right now, and then expand from there. I think about, as a caregiver for my parents, man, I am not always grateful on the hard days. That's the honest truth. But I am grateful for the overall experience in general. I'm grateful that I'm in a position to give back to the people who've given me everything, my entire life, for the 18, 19 years I lived under their roof. But every day, my parents have loved me, have worried about me. And we have not had a perfect family story. There were years that we were not in contact, or at least on the regular. We didn't celebrate holidays together. And those are stories for another time. But I'm even grateful for those because they showed me what a big heart I have. And overcoming those hard times in our family was about moving forward, not about looking back at the past, about focusing on who was to blame or what was to blame. Because the truth is, all of us carried part of that. It was about focusing on what we were reminded of that brought us back together, on the future and the things we were going to be able to do and the memories we were going to be able to make. And that's why to this day, in spite of all the hard times, in spite of the weight it is at times to carry caregiving, I'm so very grateful that I'm in a position to be able to offer that to my parents. And they bless me every single day in so many different ways. And my challenge for myself is to recognize that more, to make sure that I'm focusing on the things I'm grateful, not just grateful that I can do for them, but the things I'm grateful for that they're still giving to me throughout this journey as a caregiver. The third section we're going to talk about today, of course, is finance, the third F, and being thankful for growth, being thankful for the opportunities that we have when it comes to our finances. And in this section, I'm going to talk about John D. Rockefeller. I mean, there's a million people I could talk about for real, but I think the Rockefeller family is one that so many people know for what they created and what they put in place from a financial legacy. And John D. Rockefeller once said, "The poorest man I know is the man who has nothing but money." You see, at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world and be miserable. But in John D. Rockefeller's story, we learn that before he became the world's first billionaire with a B, he was a humble young man, earning $1.50 a week as a bookkeeper. Even then, he was taught by his mother to give thanks to God for every penny earned and to return the first 10% through tithing. That practice of gratitude shaped his financial philosophy for life, he said. He's quoted as saying, "I never would have been able to tithe the first $1 million I ever made if I hadn't tithed my first salary, that $1.50 per week." As his wealth grew, so did his gratitude. He saw his financial blessings as a responsibility, not a reward, and he used them to bless others. Through his charitable foundation, Rockefeller funded schools, universities, hospitals, and medical research that would later help eradicate diseases like yellow fever and hookworm. Despite being one of the richest men in history, John D. Rockefeller lived with quiet thankfulness. He prayed daily, wrote in his gratitude journal, and taught his children and grandchildren that money was only a means to serve a greater purpose. Man, I want you guys to think about that. What parts of John D. Rockefeller's story stand out to you? Are you grateful for what you have, no matter how much it is? Are you grateful for the ability it gives you to put food on your table, a roof over your head, to put clothes on your children's backs, to tithe to your church, to give in your communities? I want you to think about the fact that living in gratitude when it comes to your finances doesn't mean ignoring your own goals and what you want to create financially. It means appreciate the progress, no matter how small it is, because then you're going to appreciate what you have more as it grows. And you're going to look for opportunities to bless those around you when it grows. I talked about the gratitude audit in my money tip. to look at those things, simple things that you can be grateful for, to write down, focus on, and really spend intentionally and attract more of what aligns with you. I know the times that I sit in gratitude for my business, for the income it provides me, for the opportunities that it provides me. I notice that in the financial part of my life, there's growth. There's more opportunities that come my way, more families that I'm able to serve. I don't know exactly how that works, but I know it does. So being thankful for what we have is imperative. And money is not a bad thing to have, but remember, money is just a tool. It's a tool that allows you the opportunity to create joy, to make memories. It allows you the opportunity to give back. And it allows you the opportunity to leave a financial legacy that can change your family's life in the future. Some of the objections that I hear being in the money world, being in the personal finance arena, is I'll never be wealthy or I don't have enough. But you can reframe those beliefs, whatever those negative beliefs you might have about money are, you can reframe those by creating that gratitude for what you already have and allowing that to build momentum. I see all the time that through my clients who are focused on steadily growing in gratitude, that they often outperform the financial goals that they have. I remind them in the second appointment I have with clients, we're talking about the details of their finances today. And they might not be pretty. Mine weren't when I started, and I tell my clients that too. But we don't go through that exercise to bring ourselves down when it comes to our finances. We bring ourselves into the details of where they are today so we know what our starting point is. And that's all it is. We have all the opportunity in the world to create additional wealth from where we are today. But if we don't know where we are today, how can we properly map where we want to get to tomorrow, next year, in 10 years, 20 years, in retirement? So focus on that steady growth and be grateful for it. Recognize it. It might be adding $25 a week to your savings, but it's adding to your savings, right? Okay, F number 4 is fitness. And I love the story I found for this section of today's podcast. Nick Vujicic said once, your body is a temple, not because it's flawless, but because it's where your faith lives. You see, Nick was born without arms or legs, and he could have lived a life of despair. As a child, he struggled with depression, bullying, and the feeling that he was never going to live a normal life. But through faith, love, and perspective, Nick learned to transform his pain into purpose. He started with gratitude for the body that he had, not the one that he didn't. He began to see every breath, every move, every challenge as a chance to glorify God. He learned to swim, surf, and even play soccer, proving that fitness isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and spiritual resilience. Nick once said, I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but I don't need hands to hold her heart. Today, Nick is an inspirational speaker, husband, father, and inspiration to millions. His gratitude for life and health reminds us that fitness isn't about perfection. It's about persistence, perspective, and praise. Man, I think about that, and there are a million stories. There are a million examples I could have given. And when I was doing my research for this episode to look at some different stories about fitness and people's progress in that area, this story popped up and I was like, this is it. It's a completely different approach. Nick found a way to shift his mindset about his body that impacted his ability from a fitness perspective. It didn't look the same for him, but that didn't stop him. It absolutely didn't stop him. It propelled him to continue creating all that he wanted to, including a beautiful family. So Listen, when I look at fitness, I think most people, when they hear that word, they think of the physical side of it. There's your health that goes along in that. And I've talked in recent episodes about my health journey over the last year. And so those two things go hand in hand. It's having a body that can do the things that can keep you healthy, to enjoy the family you have, to continue to build the faith, to work your job and create wealth for your family. So if you're looking at it from a fitness perspective, reframe the old, oh my gosh, I have to work out 3 times this week, or I have to go 5 days this week, or I have to do cardio today, to I get to. You have a body that allows you to move. However your body does allow you to do that. Take advantage of it and be grateful. That gratitude can turn into discipline. And that discipline turns into devotion. Constant gratitude for all that you can do. I want to encourage you guys. I want, hopefully, y'all have some kind of movement in your life. And whatever that is, whether it's a casual walk, whether it's being at the gym multiple days a week, or somewhere in between those two, I encourage you that at some point this week after a workout, I want you to literally pause and say out loud, thank you, body, for whatever. Thank you, body, for allowing me to do this leg workout today. Thank you, body, for allowing me to take my kids to the park and play. Whatever it is. Thank you, body, for allowing me to have children. That's a big one right there. It's so easy. I'm going to speak to the women for a minute, right? I mean, men and women, we need both to be able to have children. But as women, we get so caught up in what our body looks like as we get older, especially after we have children. Stop and thank your body for the ability you have had to do that. Because a lot of people haven't had that opportunity. And if you haven't, and you wish you could, thank your body for the persistence that you might be going through and the strength that you might be going through to have that family, or the other things it gives you if you haven't been able to. You know, when we create habits in any area of the 5 F's, they can carry to the other. So I want you to think about that. I want you to look at the areas of your life where you're strong. And what helps you to be strong? Is it because you have a strong, firm, defined schedule that you're able to accomplish everything you need to in your business or at your job, and that provides the financial benefits that you and your family have? Okay, well, can you create that schedule to allow for 30 minutes of movement every day, or 30 minutes of practicing your faith every day? Just think about where you have strengths in the 5 F's and how you can carry them over into the areas that you'd like to grow a little bit. A lot of times we think, I'm just going to say we think. I've given myself the objection. I can't start. I'm too out of shape. Oh, have I said that a few times? But when you begin by being grateful for a body that can move at all, then you can find gratitude in starting small and building upon it, and just taking one step at a time until all of a sudden those weights aren't so heavy, or you're not completely dreading throwing on those shoes and going for that 30-minute walk, or whatever it might be for you. Just be grateful for your body's capacity, however small it might be. And finally, we're going to move into fun. Of course, fun is fun to talk about. It's fun to do things that are fun. But how do we find thankfulness for the joy in every single day? There's a famous quote, a famous scripture in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22 that says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine." My story in this area is actually about Jimmy Fallon. He's a talk show host at night, late night, whatever you call it, of The Tonight Show. But before he became the beloved host of The Tonight Show, he went through some tough seasons. He faced career uncertainty, public criticism, and even a serious hand injury. This I didn't know, but a serious hand injury that almost ended his ability to perform. Through it all, Jimmy stayed grounded in the gratitude for joy itself, for the chance to make people laugh, to create connection, and spread light in dark times. Jimmy often talks about how humor and gratitude go hand in hand, and I think this is so true. After his injury, he said the simplest things like holding his daughter's hands or playing guitar again became sacred to him. He told an audience once, every laugh is a blessing. Every show, every song, every silly dance, I get to do this. That's not lost on me. His outlook shows that fun isn't frivolous, it's fuel. It's gratitude in motion. It's the ability to see joy as a form of worship, a way to honor God for giving us hearts that can celebrate even after heartbreak. Think about that. Your job is creating joy, being a comedian, performing. That is your job. I imagine in that at times it can feel like a heavy burden, and it might be hard to remember to be grateful you can do it. And for Jimmy, he went through a time and an injury that reminded him of that. But when your job is to create fun and joy and happiness for everyone around you, you've absolutely got to be rooted in gratitude for all of the things in your life. Not only the ability to do that, but for everything else that fuels it. Or I imagine you can get lost in feeling like, how do I find my own joy when I'm so focused on giving it to others? Gratitude for fun reminds us that life isn't all work. It's play, it's laughter, and it's memory making. So I want you guys to think about one fun moment this week that you're thankful for. Did you laugh with someone, enjoy a sunset, try something new, read a book you've been wanting to read? Whatever that might be, I want you to think about that fun moment. I want you to jot it down in your journal, in a notebook, whatever. Maybe even put it as a note in your phone with a reminder for 3 months from now or 6 months from now. A simple reminder pops up on your calendar or in your phone that just reminds you of that day that you took your kids to the park and had fun, or that day you decided to go parachuting for the very first time, or mountain climbing, rock climbing in a gym, whatever it might be. Just write that thing down and let it pop up in your calendar in the future. You never know. 3 months from now, 6 months from now, when that pops up, you might be walking through a difficult time. And that could be the catalyst to make you stop and be grateful even in the hardship. I want you guys to think about how joy can propel you towards all of your goals in each of the 5 F's in life in general. For me, I dream of a farmhouse, of having an investment property on the beach and an investment property in the mountains, having all the animals and being able to just live that life to its fullest. Being able to bless my family and friends with my investment properties, being able to bless animals by rescuing them when there's no more time in the shelters and give them another chance at finding a family. That's a huge dream of mine. Absolutely. But everything I'm doing is to create a legacy of memory, a legacy of taking action in making a difference in my community, of giving back with my time, with my money from a financial perspective, right? But all of that is part of the legacy that I hope to leave behind someday. If you're thinking, I don't have time for fun, there's too much going on, I'm going to challenge you to think about fun not as optional, but essential. You've got to take the time to fill your cup, or you will struggle to fill anybody else's in any area of your life. I hope these stories and these reflections I've shared today help you this month. As we step into November, this is my first episode of November, and I hope it helps you to remember to recognize the little things. And yeah, it's Thanksgiving. You know, it's almost automatic that there are things that happen that help us to remember to be thankful, especially on Thanksgiving Day. But I'm going to challenge you this month to do this every single day and create a habit where you carry it out of November and into the holidays, the Christmas holiday especially, that can be so stressful. And then every day beyond that. My hot take for this week is just a reminder that gratitude isn't just something you feel when life is good. It's the reason that life becomes good. When you practice thankfulness in your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, and your fun, you start living on purpose instead of in reaction to things. Y'all, the world doesn't need more hustle. Yes, work hard. Go after your dreams. We don't need more hustle. We need more heart. When there's heart behind the hustle in our lives, that hustle takes on a different meaning entirely. I've got a gratitude challenge for you guys as I close out this episode. And here's what it is. I want you to write down one thing you're grateful for in each of the 5 F's this week. So faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. One thing in each of those areas you're grateful for. And I want you to journal about it or post about it on social media if you're a social media person, or post a picture that represents each of those categories and what you're grateful for, and just put it in a reel or a carousel, whatever they call it, on social media with the simple caption, what I'm grateful for. I would love it if you would tag me. You can tag me at Natty Kime on social media. And I would love to see those comments, or you can send it to me. There's a link in the show notes to contact the show. And I'd love to hear the things that you are grateful for this month and after listening to this episode. When gratitude grows, everything else follows. If you'd like more of my content, please subscribe to Chat with Nat on Substack. I'm so grateful for you guys joining me for this episode. I look forward to providing you more content next week. The next 2 episodes are really special episodes. They're going to dive deep into tragedy and coming out the other side of it with an incredible guest that I have. And I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback from those episodes. So please tune into those. There's going to be 2 separate episodes, part 1, part 2. Those are going to be next week and the following week. And until next time, remember, y'all, focus on your 5 F's. And remember, wealth starts within.